Welcome to Commanders Training Camp 2022. We have you covered every day of camp from the team's facility in Ashburn, bringing you this exclusive coverage of practice, interviews with your favorite players, and access like you will not find anywhere else. No fans out here today as the team is doing a real game week practice to get ready for Saturday's preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers. Coming up in the show, though, rookie wide receiver Jahan Dotson continues to show why he was the absolute right pick for the Commanders at number 16. How much will we see him on Saturday? We'll discuss. The guy charged with throwing Dotson the ball, quarterback Carson Wentz, had himself a good day at camp on Wednesday. We will hear from the Commanders' head coach Ron Rivera on how he thinks Wentz is progressing and picking up the new offense here in Washington. Hunter Tressway is coming by the set to talk with us about how camp is going and what he sees from the offense and defense, and he is bringing his wingman, long snapper Cameron Cheeseman. It is going to be a fun interview, and you're not going to want to miss that. And our guys, Logan Paulson and Santana Moss, will take you to the practice field to watch what is going on and tell you firsthand what they're looking for and why it's important to get in the work here at camp. It's the closest you can get to camp without actually being here, and we're bringing it all to you right now on Command Center Camp Coverage, presented by the inaugural Commanders Fan Cruise, setting sail March 26, 2023. Reserve your spot at www.commandersfancruise.com. This is exclusive access to Washington Commanders training camp at the park here in Ashburn, Virginia, and we're giving you daily updates on what is happening out on the practice field. We'll be showing you look-ins at what is going on throughout our entire show, and we are glad that you could join us here today. Julie Donaldson with you, along with Logan Paulson and Santana Moss. So it's going to be a little quieter out here today because the team is putting in some installs, getting ready for the game, so the fans not out here, but you can be out here all next week, Monday through Thursday. So since they want to kind of keep things a little close to the vest and put in the game plan, what are they actually doing?
I think today they're going to be working on kind of installing the whole offense, or installing what they're going to do for Carolina. And obviously in the preseason game, they're not doing a whole bunch of different stuff. Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing kind of basic install stuff. But I think it's a good opportunity to kind of get the system down, get your routine down. This is kind of what we're looking at. This is how we're going to talk about prepping for an opponent. It's a nice prep week, and it's easy to get kind of guys into the.
Yeah, Jace, basically fine-tuning what they're going to do for the game, and just getting guys in basically formation. Let them know this is where we expect you to be at, come third down package, or, this situation. Or when the starters come out, these are the guys that's going to be playing the majority of the game. So this is something that we look forward to, because we know we're going to probably have a tiny bit of, plays to worry about, and the other guys are going to have to show.
It gets you a little bit more familiar with what a game week's going to be, trying to put this together. And we know the coaching staff and head coach Ron Rivera, they'll let us film so much of practice because they don't want us giving anything away to any of the opponents, not even, to your point, Santana, who's going to be doing what at what position as well. So let's get into some of the storylines that we are following here at camp for you. This is presented by Bank of America, the official bank of the Washington Commanders. And what would you like the power to do? Well, we start with rookie first-round pick Jahan Dotson. The Commanders' newest wide receiving threat has been impressing fans and the media alike out here at camp. We've heard his teammates talk about his quickness in route running. I know I speak for all Commanders fans when I say that we are really, really, really excited to see him finally in action. Dotson has been one of the main targets for new QB1 Carson Wentz. Wentz had a strong outing on Wednesday, completing 2 red zone TDs to both Dotson and Terry McLaurin. He also hit Terry with a big pass for 30-plus yards, and we've talked a lot about Wentz and getting in sync with his wide receivers. It certainly seems like he is doing just that. Excited to see what he does in the game on Saturday, though. And defensive tackle James Smith-Williams looks to be in the mix up front for the Commanders' defense this season. He made the most of his opportunity last season. I'm guessing we'll get a look at him in Saturday's preseason game. Now, after practice on Wednesday, he managed to find a golf cart and give himself a ride out to meet with the media.
Yeah, a lot better, not coming off a major surgery. Had the year starting experience under my belt, so you kind of know what to expect, you know what the system's like. So, year 3 I'm really excited for.
It feels like you are in a space right now with Chase out. You've been running with the ones. Is just having a sense of your role, does that help you kind of get ready for the year?
Yeah. Cool. Hey, you kind of answered it for me, so all I can say was yes there, so yeah.
We're on a couple weeks in now. What are evidences of growing comfort that you've seen with Carson, just with his teammates, with the system, and how things are progressing?
Well, I think the biggest thing more than anything else is just, watching him continue to work and try and get a feel for that timing with that receiver group. You know, that's one of the hardest things you've got to do, because you've got a group of guys terrifically fast, but they all have their own speed and quickness. Some guys come out of breaks a little differently than others with a little bit more drive. Some guys, it takes a little build-up, and he's got to get used to that as he goes through it. And as you start to see, you know, 1 minute he's throwing to Terry, who runs a specific way, then he throws the ball to Jahan, who's really smooth at what he does, and then you see him throwing it to Curtis, who's got this, you know, this explosiveness to him, and it's all 3 different ways he's got to throw the ball on the same route.
Obviously, this is your first camp, so Carson is basically your first starting NFL quarterback. What's the difference between him versus what you had at college?
He's much taller. He has a very strong arm. He's a tremendous leader, but I had that leadership at Penn State with Sean Clifford. I see some of the same traits in Sean Clifford as I do in Carson Wentz, but overall, great quarterback, someone I really look up to. He puts it on the money anytime I need it there. Like I said, it's my job to go get it, and he puts it there.
What are some of the routes that you feel like you guys have better timing on now than even like a week or 2 ago?
Really the intermediate stuff. Just the deep stuff is kind of the footwork, timing, but the intermediate stuff is really where you can see the drastic difference. We're still trying to figure things out. You know, we're taking it day by day, like I said, and still trying to figure stuff out.
Let's talk a little bit about some of these storylines, and I want to start with Dotson and Santana. Go with you on this one. He was even saying how he's still learning at this level, just on maybe even way he puts his hand to catch the ball and certain things, and just kind of how he's also grasping onto life in the NFL. How much do you want to see him to kind of feel that he's on track in this preseason game?
I think you want to see him out there a bit. I mean, I come from the old school area where he played. You know what I mean? Nowadays, you don't see guys play a lot. But I'm pretty sure the fans, they're probably going to expect and want to see more. Me being a former player, I want to see him get out there and just get his feet wet a little bit. Just get in the rhythm of how to expect to be a professional. You know, preseason 1 would be great for him to go out there and get the same amount of reps as those starters, which we expect him to be a starter. So I want to see him out there for a drive or 2, and just so he can get comfortable knowing the next week it might build or the next week, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him out there, especially if the guy like J.C. Horn for Carolina is playing. He was a top 10 cornerback selection for them a couple years ago, and I just want to see how he matches up against other high-level competition. Like, that's going to be a starting cornerback. I want to see if all of his tricks and all the things he's been working on against Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III apply to these other teams, and I think they will, and that's why he was drafted high, 16th pick overall. But, again, it's just nice to get more information to confirm that. You don't want him in there too much, but just the right amount, maybe 10, 15 plays and get him out of there.
And you know what? A guy like that, he wants to play. He's not going to want to be, this high sought-out pick, and then you're saying, okay, we're going to rest you all preseason. You want to go out there and contribute because you're out here in these dog days of camps. You need something different. So he want to get excited about going out there and just getting the feel of an NFL game.
We've heard a lot of guys as they've come through and we've talked with them on the show, just how important it is to kind of go up against somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what to expect at this point from Fuller and William Jackson III. To be able to go up against somebody else kind of gives a little bit of a measuring stick as well. We did hear head coach Ron Rivera talking about the progression of Carson Wentz in the offense. How have you seen it progress so far, Logan?
I mean, I think it's been a really nice progression over the last couple of days. I think I think Saturday kind of started the ascension of him. I think he's been much more consistent with his footwork. He had an excellent 7-on-7 period 2 days ago. A little bit inconsistent yesterday, but I think on the whole, much improved. And I think when you see that kind of timing with the receivers, when you see that comfort in the pocket, when you see his fundamentals kind of getting back to normal, throwing with that good base, I think that's all really good stuff. And if I'm Ron Rivera, I definitely, too, am very excited about where he's going. And you just want to see him continue that over the next couple of weeks.
And just hearing Logan speak on everything that I want to speak on, that's what you expect. He's a pro. He's been around this league long enough. But we also, know that he's coming into a new system with new guys. So you expect some of those up and down days too. So I'm not going to get too high on what we saw this week because you never know. He can backtrack next week. But he's a professional, and they need to know how to have those days and how to balance them.
And to Tana's point, one of the things that's kind of marred his professional careers is the inconsistency, right? So you want to just see him stack as many days as he possibly can and be effective.
That was going to be my point. Is here we are. No. Here we are in week 3.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what you would expect in week 3 of somebody
Yeah.
learning a new offense, of learning new teammates, of having to go through that adjustment. It's not just going to automatic come in, plug and play. You've got to go through some of those growing pains. You do have to make some of those mistakes so you can learn from them and have those conversations on, okay, this is what I was wanting out of that route, and this is what I need you to give me in order to be able to build that chemistry. But we have heard all of them talk about it is just that. It's chemistry, and it takes time to build that. And it will continue to take time to build that. Now, on defense, we saw James Smith-Williams talk to the media. He's a guy that's kind of the mix up front, got a little bit of playing time last season as well. How do you see him kind of fitting into this rotation? Because one of the things we do talk about is them getting that experience, getting those reps, having those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things with James Smith-Williams is he did an excellent job last year filling in. And I think one of the things about James that a lot of fans maybe don't appreciate is he does what he's supposed to do. He's going to be in the right spot, down in and down out, and he plays with a physical style that you love. I think the last couple days he's really shown up. I think he was dealing with some type of hip pointer injury earlier on in training camp, so wasn't quite as dynamic. Had an excellent bull yesterday, kind of blew up a run in the backfield. That's what he gives you. It's never going to show up in like a 5, 6, 7 sack season, but he's going to have a lot of tackles. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to elevate the linebackers and the safeties around him because he's doing what he's supposed to do. I think that's invaluable to this defense, and we saw how that affected the defense positively last year.
Yeah, and then things that he talked about coming into this season, a little more confident, knowing what to expect. Last year he was dealing with something so he couldn't really have that confidence and fly around. But then got thrown in there and played well.
Yeah.
Now he knows he expects to go out there because dealing with Chase Young, not sure when he's going to be up. But you also have guys behind him, so I think he's very confident in his role. You know what to be expected, and I'm looking forward to see him go out there and have some fun.
And we saw that defense, even with him last year, the defensive line start to really come together later in the season. In the absence of Chase Young, guys understanding what their assignment is and where they need to be, he was a big part of that rotation as well, and will continue to be so as we go into the beginning of the season without Chase Young for however long that may be. Now, we do start the season on September 11th against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we want to make sure you are there, folks. Tickets start at just $46 while supplies last, so make sure you get your official Ticketmaster verified tickets at commanders.com/tickets. Command the stands. Again, that'll be the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sunday, September 11th, 1 p.m. Now, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, our favorite punter, Tress Way, is coming by the set and bringing his long snapper, Cameron Cheeseman. We will talk about what the special teams have been up to and which position battles they have been watching. It's really good firsthand insight. And meanwhile, Logan and Santana, they're going to head down to the field and bring you your field pass. This is Command Center camp coverage. We're away for just 60 seconds, but we are showing you practice the entire time.
I told you long ago on the road, I got what they waiting for.
Introducing Nitro Pepsi. Smooth, creamy, delicious.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to Command Center camp coverage presented by the inaugural Commanders Fan Cruise, setting sail March 26, 2023. Reserve your spot at www.commandersfancruise.com. It is time now for your field pass presented by FedEx, where now meets next. Logan and Santana are down on the practice field. Guys, what are you keeping your eye on?
Thanks, Julie. All right, so today we're kind of in for a treat, Santana, because we get some new stuff today. They're hitting special teams a little bit earlier in practice today. So obviously, with a preseason game, you're not going to have your starters do your special team stuff, and you're not going to have your starting special teams players do special team stuff. So you need to work those new guys in, right?
Definitely.
But I do think it's interesting because we get to see who they're thinking about for kick returner for the game, right?
Yeah.
We got Dax Mills back there. We got Erickson. What do you like about Dax Mills as a returner?
He's just shown that he's consistent. He's been a sure hand guy. I thought highly of him last year, just being a young guy that came in and the game didn't look too fast for him. When I'm watching him catch punts and catch kicks, it just seems that everything is done the right way. So I want to see him in some live action though, to see how he is. Preseason is the best time to really, get a taste to see what these guys might have in store. But so far so good with him.
And how is it different? How is catching a punt in a game different than in practice, for example?
I mean, in the game, this counts right here. You're basically the first. You're the O by yourself, basically saying, hey, what I do with this punt, whether I catch it, fair catch it, I give the offense great feel or not. And I've always held that responsibility on myself as a punt returner that I want to, one, catch the ball, two, make the first guy miss, and put my offense in the best field as possible.
I love that you brought that up, make the first guy miss, because that's what really elite punt returners can do,
Yeah.
right? Everyone thinks of these crazy dynamic returns. The really good ones,
Yeah.
they consistently make the first guy miss, and they can take a 5-yard return and turn into a 15 or 20-yard return, and that's, I think, what makes someone really special in that area of the game.
Yeah, that's key, and some of the things that we do after that first guy, that first wave, that's all instinct and how you know the game and how you know how to run with the ball. But it's always key. Any special teams coach would tell that guy, if you can make that first guy miss and get me 5 to 10 yards, I can live with that every day.
Absolutely. And then, so another important thing to get about the core of the punt team here, Maddie, if you go over to the core here, they have Derek Forrest working as the PP. And I don't know if you know that much about personal protecting in special teams, but they're basically the quarterback of the punt team. And so to see Derek Forrest out there right now, that is a really, really, really good sign that he's going to be on this roster in some capacity, because that guy is a core special teams player. He knows all your protection calls on punt, and so even though he might not, be like a starting safety, like he's going to have a big role on that team.
And then, just talking about, having that role, we know that now we can count on him to do multiple things. You know what I mean? And that's one of the ways you make the team. You might have a chance to play safety here and there in certain packages, or if someone goes down, but this is your job right here.
Yep.
So he's honed in on this job. He does it well, and I'm glad to see him out there as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also, so again, like one of the things they're doing here is they're just working through different potential rush schemes. In preseason, you don't get that many kind of challenging rush schemes, that many challenging
Different
blocking
looks.
services, but you just want to make sure that guys feel good, because there's no worse feeling, Santana, than giving up a block punt in preseason, because then that translates to the regular season. Everyone thinks they can get you once you show something in the preseason.
But trust me, as much as these guys go over this, something always seems to
It's
go
true.
wrong in the game. So that's one of the things that's key, that they're going to put it on film in practice and be able to go through it. So if something does come up in the game where someone missed their assignment, they can always go back and say, look, we did it right this day. Why we couldn't do it in the game that way?
Absolutely.
But we know the game is always different. It's always different.
It's kind of one of those things that Julie was saying, like, what do you expect from the young players? And one of the things is you never know.
Yep.
You never know, because the young guys get out there and then their brains, I was a young guy once, and you get so excited and you forget your rules, you forget your counts, and all of a sudden you're blocking the wrong guy.
If they're not mic'd up, you won't hear them, but they all like, uh-oh, it's for real now.
And then, Matt, if you can go down here to this end of the field, obviously they're still working on catching punts, but the other thing they're working here is the gunners, right?
Yeah.
The gunners are maybe the second most important position on your punt team after your PP, because they are the guys that make the tackles. I remember Danny Smith always used to say, it doesn't matter who you have in the core of your punt team. If you've got two good gunners, you'll never have to cover a kick.
Yeah.
And so seeing guys over there like Percy Butler, seeing guys over there like Cam Sims, guys who've done it at a high level in the NFL, I think that's exciting, because those guys are dynamic special teams players, dynamic athletes. Even Benjamin St. Just is over there.
I played gunner in college and
Did
in
you
high
really?
school. Yep. I played gunner. I mean, you got to think about it. I walked onto the football team in college, so I was on the kickoff team the first game of the season. I made a tackle on the kickoff team. So I was just trying to get in where I fit in. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember in college in big games where we was playing Florida State. I had just ran a punt previously, and then now we're punting. I'm the gunner.
You're the gunner?
I'm going down there, and I was the first guy down there to make the guy fair catch. So I took pride in being that guy because I understood that, like you said before, just like the punt returner, I want to give my team the best field position. So if I'm considered to be on the defense trying to stop these guys, I want to get in their face to make sure that he's not running with the ball, or I can scare him out of catching it.
And I'm really glad you brought that up, because now what I'm going to say is going to make even more sense. Like, to be a gunner in the NFL, you have to be a straight dog, right? Because you're getting double teamed. They're trying to take. You're the best tackler on the punt team. They're trying to take you out of there, right? And so that's why people say, "Oh, why waste a 4th-round pick on Percy Butler, a guy who's got great special teams value?" It's because in this, he becomes your most valuable defensive player, right? He can make that tackle for you. And obviously, what's it like beating a vice? I mean, have you ever had to do that?
I didn't have to beat too many. I was just using my speed. You know what I mean? I was a speed guy, and most of them found out week 1. But but one of the things about it, man, you have to be a beast. You have to have a different mentality, because you can get hitting them out just as well as you're trying to hit them in theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously now we've transitioned to punt return, which is a little bit different. Obviously you got the vices, all that stuff out here. But one thing I wanted to point out here is, while special teams is going on, you've got Antonio Gibson working with Coach Jordan. We've got McKissick working with the assistant running back coach here. And this is something that I love to see during special teams, is when the guys who are established on the roster, they're touching on their craft. William Jackson III was out here a second ago, just kind of touching up on some details, and it's great to see guys kind of with that level of detail and focus.
It's always great getting the feel of what you have to do, man. You know, one of the things about us being professionals is we're not a pro by by chance. You know what I mean? You have to basically work on that every day, and even when you're in practice and you have some time to yourself, instead of you copping a squat and sitting on a knee, you come over here and get right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just on the punt return side of it real quick, they are doing a 6-man box, right, or 8-man box right now, which is kind of a traditional rush look. So obviously they're putting a couple different things in here for these guys to think about. Usually it's just a 7-man box and you're ready to go, double vice to one side. Obviously the special teams coach here is kind of pushing these guys a little bit, seeing what they know.
You never know what to expect too, because man, you might get a team that say, you know what, we're gonna be an a-hole to these guys. We want to win, so we're gonna throw everything at them. So that's one of the things too. You have to always be prepared.
Julie, a whole bunch of different nuggets here. Really excited to see how this plays out in the preseason, who the returner is, how the gunners do, all that kind of stuff, and obviously how the offense does. So Julie, back to you.
All right, thank you guys. Now, while they make their way back to the set here, let's talk a little bit about the special teams and fan favorite, punter Tress Way. Well, Tress has been here in Washington since 2014 and quickly won over the fans and media here in town. He's pretty good on the field as well. Now, Tress and his battery mate, long snapper Cameron Cheeseman, they stopped by the set to talk about how camp is going and how much they've been in the weight room. It is our Pepsi player profile. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. This is the interview we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Tress Way and Cameron Cheeseman, but we had to wait for you, Cheese.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for waiting on me.
We had to wait because he's like a man of the people, sending autographs the whole way up here. He gets stop nonstop.
Yeah.
What's it like
Always.
having everybody yell, Cheese? I mean, they can't get enough.
I know. It is something to get used to. I remember last year, any stadium we were at did have a whole section of fans just chanting my name, and I'm just like,
dude, it is a universally loved last name. Like I told him, I was like, dude, you're going to have it the rest of your career. You're the Cheese.
Has to be more than the name, though, right?
Oh, just a good dude. Yeah. Just a really, really good dude, for sure.
Having you by my side, man.
Wow. Gonna go
So,
there.
well, let's talk about this. Here you are entering your 9th season, Tress.
Yes.
This is just old hat for you.
Yes.
Cameron's coming now into just his second here with the team.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
The dude has gotten even better than last year, which he had an awesome rookie year. But I told him, what year did I tell you would be the hardest year?
Year 2.
Year 2, because your rookie year, it all just freaking happens. And then year 2, you're like, oh, I know what to do, and then it's very easy to overthink it. Dude's having a heck of a camp, so it's going pretty good.
How is it for you then in your second year? Is that so far holding true?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot more comfortable now with Tress and Joey now that we have things set and getting our rhythm down. But just being around all the guys and, feeling more like in command, I'd say, of like the punt team and being able, like, I can take control and
command. You see what he did there? Good play.
He's an on-brand guy.
Yes.
Yeah, try to be more like take a leadership role in that regard and help out the younger guys. But definitely, like Tress always told me, is like you have a lot of expectations from last year, and going into year 2, you want to exceed those expectations, and that, that's what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, I just trying to do my best that I can. So.
Well said,
I would have thought his rookie year would have been the most difficult because of all the pranks you pulled on him.
Wait a second. Hold on. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer has a very shiny nose. Then Drip, first off, I hope my snapping is better than my singing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I think Cheese is in on the pranks with me now. Like, we like messing with the other guys. And so I think we're together a unit now. We are the guys to look out for, whereas I had to kind of break them in the first.
Did anybody warn you about what you're getting with Tress, or was it just your full-blown right into it, and here's Mr. Personality for you?
I had no idea. I think I got a little bit of it when the day I got drafted and Tress FaceTimed me. I was like, well, this dude's pretty nice. Like, I kind of surprised me and shocked me. I was like, wow, like he took time out of his day, gave me a call, but I was like, I mean, I had no idea how great, personality, just be fun to hang around with them. So,
and as you were adjusting, you talk a little bit about that at your game. I know early on we were just talking about how the timing, early in your career, how the timing goes and how you were so used to your unit always being together. Yep. So what is it that makes that so difficult, and when does it finally click?
So I think the biggest thing is you practice as a specialist, snapping, holding, kicking, punting. You do the same thing every single day. And so it gets to a point where you just want to tune everything out and you want it to just be muscle memory. And so I think with Cheese and I, we were just now building that last year. You have OTAs, you have things that you do like off on the side of the field, but when you get in freaking live game mode, that is whenever everything goes out the window and you try to have that muscle memory, the foundation, the timing. And so I think it's just been fun building on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say just working out our craft every day. I mean, it's one of those things where it can seem so simple, but, at the end of the day, it's a little bit more trickier than we thought. But I think we've been able to dial it in pretty well and, make our most of every opportunity we got.
Training camp is that opportunity to get ready for that year number 2 for you. We're watching a lot of the offense and defense go against each other. So where does your time come in here?
We have our periods. We spend a lot of time in the weight room, staying as swole as possible. But then often when our number is called on the field, during. So we love the preseason games because it's like we like to call like the practice round at the Masters, where you're just coming in, you're getting the feel of everything, playing the conditions, things like that. But I'm very thankful for that with Cheese and with Joey. We have these kind of high standards. We want to be the best unit out there. We really want to help out the defense, the offense, wherever we come into play. And so trying to gauge the expectations with too much pressure or on yourself, and then performing and building some good foundation. That's what we're trying to do.
And hopefully we don't see too much of you.
Yes.
Is that okay?
That is okay.
Is that okay that I tell you we really don't want to see a lot of you?
That is totally fine.
Extra points, baby.
Extra points. Yes, I'm cool with holding, but you understand sometimes I have to punt. Like I literally have to. So I just try and send it as far down the field as possible and then make their offense start deep.
So you've actually, over the last year as well, kind of gotten used to my role as a hosting a show.
Yes.
I haven't gotten you into being an analyst yet, but that would be one of the next progressions. Since you do get the opportunity to kind of sit back and watch some of the offense and defense, can you give us your analysis on how so far training camp is going for the team?
Yes. I think first and foremost, I know we've had a lot of fans out here, but we're not going to be able to see it in preseason because the show to watch is our wide receiving core versus the DBs. It has been unbelievable. Like having McLaurin out there, having Curtis back. Jahan catches freaking everything. I mean, he had one today. We were sitting on the sideline, and William Jackson is playing it perfectly. You can't do anything else. Carson throws it great, and he somehow makes a ridiculous one-handed acrobatic catch, and we're like, what the heck, man? Like, so that has been the coolest thing to watch is those guys going toe-to-toe every single day.
I have to agree. It is definitely, now that we've had I have a year under my belt, being able to watch the team after the last season and watching the guys grow. Like, I'm just thoroughly impressed with our rookies so far. I mean, all around, just guys stepping up and making plays. Yeah. And from a special team standpoint, I think there's going to be a lot of rookies that are going to contribute from that. But yeah,
we pay a lot of attention to the special teams you see. That's very key to our job description.
Well, it's your room, right?
Yes,
you should.
Yes.
You should. Nate Katzer, of course, leading that as your coach. What can you say about him?
Every time you get a veteran player in from another team that's a special teams guy. So this year we have Alex Erickson, who's just an awesome dude. The compliments that come from those veteran teams guys, like David Mayo last year and Alex Erickson this year, where they're like, dude, this is your special teams unit? Like, this is your meeting? Like, I mean, the dude, like Julius, you could go in there and he would have you ready to either fist fight somebody out of love. Like, it's weird. It's like a passion where it's like, I want to hurt you, but it's my job and I want to do my best for the team. But he encourages you, builds you up. The dude, he does an awesome job.
So can you tell us who's going to be returning punts and kickoffs this year?
Well, I can tell you right now that the dude that has picked it up faster than anybody, I kind of pride myself on being a lefty and kind of tricking people. Jahan catches everything. Now, I don't know how that works with having a first-round pick who is a crazy athlete, crazy good catcher, but I do know that Dax and Alex both, they are the kind of guys that just really tick you off as a punter because they just catch it and freaking put yards on your net. Really pisses me off. So I don't know how it's going to shake down, but it'll be fun to watch in preseason.
Dotson might not be the one you do want out there. We're anticipating
a
lot
I'm
on
just saying
offense,
he's
but
fun to
you
watch.
do.
Yeah.
Look, 2019, you had a Pro Bowl campaign. If you're not going to be out there all the time this year, because from what you're saying about the offense, you're going to be watching this. How do you get back there?
Well, I think I got to have my time with the Pro Bowl. It was awesome. If it happens again, that's great. But if we can lead the league or be great on inside the 20s, and then Cheese and I have really just working on setting our standard for being there for Joey. He's having an incredible camp. So if we can get our vibing going, and then we pin them inside the 20 when we need to, we're good with that.
And Cheese, Tress has his kids out here. Are you coaching them up on how to take this over? Because I know they do.
I know Bo, man. He wants to. I don't know if he wants to be a snapper, but I'm getting the vibe that he does because
freaking loves Cheese, man.
If Tress stays around long enough, I mean, maybe he can come take my job and be a snap to him.
They come to practice. The kids come to practice, and you hear "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." Moments later, Cheese. So
just went right over.
Love Cheese. Yeah.
Glad to have you here, and Joey, of course, working in. You talked about you guys are in the weight room all the time.
Yes.
I think you just meant Joey was in the weight room
now,
all the time.
All the time is relative. Like, I'm in the weight room all the time as a punter. That dude's literally in the weight room all the time. So yes, touche.
All right, and then of course you on the show Hang Time are a Cheese expert. This is my booster.
Oh no, here we go.
How would you assess my booster?
Booster seat. Yeah. Cheese.
I do have 2 of those at home, actually. That my parents, they contemplate bringing them and wearing them, and I'm like, only if we're not playing the Packers.
I know. That's tough.
Correct.
That's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
A little too close for home for you. This is what we think of Green Bay. It is. All of a sudden, I am boosted. There you go.
Right on it. There you go.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's wrong with that, guys? What's wrong? I need a booster. I'm sitting next to you, Logan. Logan's back here with us. So let's take a look at the numbers that Tress has performed over his career. Been really reliable punting the football for Washington. 8 seasons here, 570 total punts, the longest at 75 yards. Like, he just continues to dominate and pin the defenses back in the 20. As we do welcome you back in here, and we're going to talk a little bit about special teams. We do have Logan and Santana with us. And, when Tress sat down, he's like, wait, you don't really need that booster while you're sitting next to me. And I said, well, when I'm next to the 6'5" guy, I need to be elevated just a little bit. Just a little bit helps. Magic of television, right?
Yeah.
Tana's like, it just is what it is.
It works.
So let's talk a little bit about Tress and how they've been doing. Look, they've seemed to have settled in, first off, on Joey Sly. That's something that many people were saying you would have made that move beginning of the season. Dustin Hopkins, just a great guy all around.
Yep.
But, when you miss and that's your one job, then that's just the nature of the business.
Yep.
Have we solidified Joey Sly as that guy and our trust and kind of faith in him?
I mean, I think so. I think he's done a great job. He was great through the second half of last season since they signed him, and he's just been nothing but consistent here at training camp. You haven't heard one rumor about him missing kicks or anything like that. And usually for a kicker, if we're not talking about you, that's an excellent sign. Right. So I think you feel pretty good about where he's at.
That's what Tresway was saying too. It's like, he's like, I take no offense. I don't really want to have to be out there punting all the time, and go on the sidelines and all of a sudden say, grab your helmet again. It's 3 and out. But there they are with that. He has been so reliable, and Santana, oftentimes we kind of dismiss the importance of a long snapper, and Cameron Cheeseman and what he's able to do as well.
Yeah, I was sitting here just asking the question, does Cheeseman do anything else but long snap, Because, I mean, some of those guys, they have other talents, As a player, trust me, the long snapper, the kicker, the punter, trust me, when I was here, you would see these guys over there, they playing flutes, they doing so many other different things, but it's great to have that chemistry. It's great to have a guy like Cheeseman. We had a guy who was here, I forgot his name, Logan might remember his name.
Nick Sunbird?
Sunbird.
Yep.
How can I forget Sunbird? Sunbird was a great guy. He always gambled with us on the planes, but he was a guy that, that every game you counted on him, and he was there. And the relationship between him and Tress and those guys was undeniable, you know, and that's why he had a long career here. So I'm hoping Cheeseman can do the same thing.
They did. Those three were quite a unit: Dustin Hopkins, Nick Sundberg, and Tress Way. And Tress really now just kind of leads in with Joey Sly coming in here, and Cameron Cheeseman as well. But you don't want to be talking about them, I suppose, just to your point, Logan. If you are talking about them, then maybe something's going wrong. But what you do want to talk about is who's returning those kicks and punts.
Sure.
I mean, that's where it's electrifying, is when you see somebody that has that. And, you know, it's interesting that he said the one guy who's been really consistent, kind of no surprise, is Jahan Dotson in returning, and would not give up who's probably going to have really that role. But, yeah, we don't want Dotson out there. We need him being fresh on offense. Who do you think should have those roles for punt and kick returns?
Yeah, right now I think, you know, obviously Jahan has a very natural skill set for it. You saw it in college at Penn State, but, you know, with his contribution to the offense, he won't be out there. I think Dax Milne is the guy who's got the inside lane to that right now. He does a good job making good decisions. And I think people undervalue making good decisions as a punt returner. I think a lot of people look at it and say, oh, you know, we want guys who are explosive, who can make plays, do all these different things. But I think you want a guy who's going to get the ball back to the defense. Like, that's the number one priority for that guy, and he does an excellent job of that. So I think because of what he's doing offensively and because of that skill set catching the football, I think he'll be the guy.
And Santana, you've done this before in your career as well. What is it that makes it so difficult?
Because you got to catch that ball and worry about the guys coming down, you know, running to tear your head off. So,
well, also the ball has a different rotation, right? It's different than a kickoff, which is more linear and kind of spirals to you.
So much goes on as a punt returner, you know, and you have to, you know, talked about being safe out there, making sure that you're giving your team the best field position. You have to make sure that you know how deep you are. I mean, we saw so many guys that had the talent, that had the skill set, but when it comes to being in the line of fire, not knowing how to make the right decision. So it's bigger than just making catches and making plays or scoring touchdowns. You have to be, you know, at your right mind, making sure that you're making the right decision, whether I'm going to catch it or let it bounce.
And right even there, just catching it can be even tricky, as even Tress says, because he's a lefty. The spin on the ball is different, the elevation is different. And so that's first and foremost one of the most difficult parts in that position is just catching the ball, let alone having
it's brutal though, man.
Everybody
People
coming
don't
at you full
realize
speed.
Everybody's not cut out to be a punt returner.
Well, I was just thinking, like, they used to bring in a right and left-footed punter depending on who we were playing that week with those guys. It is a very specific skill set that those guys have, and not something you can find easily.
And then if you was a guy like myself, I was drafted, you know, in New York, and they told us that, hey, when we play the opposing team, we open up our doors in our stadium because the wind blows different. So I had to practice with that all the time.
Wow.
And it got to the point that it was second nature to me. But I remember going back playing against the Giants, and I'm like, okay, this is what the other teams feel like when you have to sit out here and catch these punts. So different stadiums, the ball twirl a little different. You might get lost in the light. That's why I always wore the eye black, because as a receiver, when the ball goes up in the light, you can't see it if you don't have anything to give you that, you know, kind of shade or whatever. And being a punt returner, all that stuff, you know, plays a part.
At times, I don't think we give enough respect to that position. She is doing that job. But there we go. A little insight into our special teams here, and we'll just have to wait to see. And maybe in preseason game number 1 in Carolina, who predominantly will be carrying that load. Now, for everything that you want to know about training camp, we have you covered on Command Center. It is a show that you do not want to miss. You can join myself and these two gentlemen right here. Of course, our tight end and film room expert, Logan Paulson, and our wideout, 8 to the 9, Santana Moss, every day for your Commanders fix, highlights, analysis, and inside access you're not going to get anywhere else. You can see every episode on our YouTube channel and on commanders.com. You can also check us out on NBC Sports Washington weekdays 5:30 and 10 p.m. Now, this Saturday, do not miss the season debut of Command Center Game Day Live, the official pre-game show of the Washington Commanders. We are live on the air starting at 11 a.m. and taking you up to the start of the preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. And then after game, do not miss Command Center Post-Game Live for reaction, analysis, and interviews with head coach Ron Rivera and quarterback Carson Wentz. Take command of your game days with us. We are not done yet, and when we come back, we're getting back down into the trenches and talking about Pro Bowler Jonathan Allen and his fellow defensive lineman and Alabama alum Daron Payne. How good can this tandem be? We'll talk about that next, right after this 1-minute break, and of course, as always, we are keeping that field cam up.
This one's for every NFL fan whose fan cave is more like a fan corner of a guest room closet. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
You fired up the grill for one hot dog? Seriously?
Hot dogs, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to Command Center Camp coverage presented by the inaugural Commanders Fan Cruise setting sail March 26, 2023. Reserve your spot at www.commandersfancruise.com. Now, fans have been active on social media as they were coming on out here. Again, no fans here today because the team is getting ready for preseason game number 1 against Carolina, putting in some installs, and Coach doesn't want to be giving anything away. But for those that have been out here, we've enjoyed having you out here, and we hope you've had fun dancing in front of our signs. This is what it's all about. It is about the fans. Time now to go camping with team reporter Zach Selby.
Hello and welcome back once again to Camping Out with Zach Selby, where all the practices have basically blended into one long day, but that's okay because we're out here watching the Commanders as they get ready for the 2022 season. I'm Zach Selby, and today we have 2 more new guests. We have the man himself, Rick Doc Walker, and our social media correspondent, Katie Feeney. Let's go check out what they had to say. You have a really particular connection to one of our new players, Jahan Dotson. Yeah. And, I mean, first of all, what was it like when you first thought he was going to be joining the Commanders?
It was so unexpected, and hearing his name, because I had no idea that was a possibility. So at the night of the draft, seeing his name on the big screen, I was like, I know him. I don't even just know his name, we actually know each other. So I was like, this is like the best coincidence ever.
So on the other side, we got the defensive line here, and with Chase Young being on the pup list still, we have some of the other depth players kind of getting more opportunities, kind of like you said on the offensive line to tight end. Casey Toohill, Braylon Bradley King, James Williams. All 3 of those guys have kind of flashed at various points. Yeah. I like a lot of it, Wesley, but William Bradley King seems like he's grown a lot. Out of those other 3, though, I mean, who has stood out to you the most?
Well, you named him because Smith Williams came back. He'd been out. Toohill's made plays. He kind of jumps at you and you go, he flashes. Yeah. I don't know why you don't. The dude he got pop, and he got a burst in him, too. I'm still going with the Spartan. 91 is my secret guy who I always look for a guy.
I've heard his name pop up every now and again.
Like Dean Hamill did when we were playing. You called him Tasmanian Devil. And so they're so kind of even. Nobody's kind of popped out, but the whole group is kind of solid. Right. I'll need the game to determine the winner.
Okay, yeah, I like that. With Toohill, he had a really good practice thing last week where he had a popped-up fumble, took it back, had a TFL there. Yeah. Last one here, we got to talk to you about the tight ends a little bit. Cole Turner still kind of recovering a little bit. We got Curtis Hodges kind of stepping up. Armani Rodgers also has stepped up a lot. Oh yeah. So you think he has a shot?
Well, he has a shot because he's going to be starting. Man. Same thing. 88, 45, 14. These new guys come in. Hey, they're going to play. We know Logan's the man. He's not playing. Bates may not play. If I'm trying to make a team, I'm going, thank you, because I need opportunity.
Time now for today's Fresh Takes presented by Safeway, the official supermarket of the Washington Commanders. And you can listen to Zach's full interviews with the beat reporters on our podcast, Going Camping with Selby, wherever you get your other Command Center podcasts. Logan Santana, let's talk some of these fresh takes and start with the defense. We heard Doc talk about the defensive line and Jonathan Allen and Duron Payne, 2 guys from Alabama. Let's not forget they got Fedarian Mathis also coming in here, but focusing in on Payne and Allen. And we've really seen Payne kind of step up as in a contract year. And boy, he's going out saying he wants maybe a little bit of what John Allen got last year in that payday. But how good can this tandem really be, Santana?
It could be good. It's something about that contract year, too. I don't know if it's just, league-wide, but when the guy's in that contract year, that intensity comes a little different. But I'm expecting big things from Payne. You know, Allen he set the tone last year. I think both together, these guys are both staples in our defensive line. You know, people get enamored by the guys on the ends making all the sacks. And Payne talked about it. You know, being in college, he didn't make a lot of sacks, but he caused havoc in the trenches. He the one clocks the hold up. He the one, forced that quarterback not to step up in the pocket. So I'm looking forward to these guys being big for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously John Allen, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, probably undebatably top 3 in the NFL, which is pretty fantastic. And then Payne, I think, is a tremendous athlete, really excels in the run game on first and second down, not necessarily kind of blowing guys up, pushing guys in the backfield, but just because he's so quick and powerful, can make those plays. I think he can grow a little bit as a pass rusher, but he's shown signs of that here in this training camp. So I think both those guys, I mean, maybe the best defensive tackle tandem in the NFL, and having both those guys on the same team is really, really special.
Tell me this, though, and I don't mean to cut you off, Julie. Do we kind of get caught up into what Aaron Donald does in this league as far as making, sacks and stuff?
Absolutely.
Those guys Aaron Donalds, the Warren Sapps, those guys up in the trenches doesn't always have to make the sacks.
So I will say this about Aaron Donald. He has totally broken the metric for how we grade defensive linemen. There has been nobody like him in the history of the NFL in terms of production. So to think about John kind of being compared to him all the time is so unfair to John, because in any other era, he's one of the most dominant defensive linemen ever. So yes, I do think Aaron Donald kind of breaks the metric for this position group, but Payne does a great job, Allen does a great job, and they both excel in kind of different ways. And hopefully Payne can kind of excel as a pass rusher a little bit more this year.
No doubt.
Some are just built different.
Yep.
I mean, look, at this level, everybody is physically talented and gifted, but some are built just a little bit different. Is there anybody else on Saturday you're really kind of excited for, Logan, on defense, that you're saying, wait, I kind of want to see what this guy has to offer and will bring?
Just to keep it in the D-line room, I think Daniel Wise is a guy that's flashed a ton at camp. He's, kind of in contention for that 4th defensive tackle spot. He's very, very explosive. He's very, very strong, kind of has that heavy hands demeanor. Not a big guy, but flashes in practice in terms of creating penetration, blowing up runs in the backfield, and shows some juice as a pass rusher. So I think you get him on somebody who's not used to seeing that kind of later in the rotation, maybe a 2 or 3 from a different team, and he is going to give that guy a heck of a time and going to flash a ton in the preseason. So that's a guy, again, in a little bit of a position battle for a roster spot, and I'd like to see him do well.
Yeah, I think on the defensive side, I'm looking to see a guy, and I'm keeping on the defensive side because I've been watching the corners all summer long. I want to see what Christian Holmes has in store.
I like that.
He's a different breed. You look at him, you're like, man, do this guy have any body fat? You know what I'm saying? But when you watch him fly around, I watched him on that Saturday night practice, man. He shows signs that he can be one of those guys that we can count on and lean on. He's a young guy, so I want to really see how he does in the preseason.
Absolutely. I think that's a great pick because, like you said, built different.
Yeah.
It looks like more like a safety, maybe even a linebacker at times, but great technique, really understands the defense. So I'm interested to see if that production from training camp carries over to a different opponent.
We know the wins and losses don't count in the preseason, and guys are really just going out making sure that they feel good about their game as you're ramping up for the regular season on September 11th against the Jags. But what is it you want to see, Logan, from this team?
From this team, I'd like them, again, the first drive for the offense is so critical. You want them to come out, look confident, look smooth, look efficient, look on time, all those things. You don't want any kind of hiccups. That would be ideal. Then obviously for the defense to come out and look smart, look sharp, no big plays, keep everything nice and tight. I think those things are so critical in this preseason game. And obviously as you move into the second half of the game, maybe even the second quarter, just how the depth handles everything. And then how those position battles, like we talked about, defensive tackle, tight end, running back, corner, who are those guys that kind of are going to flesh out the bottom of this roster?
Yeah, one of the things that, we always pride ourselves on is winning our outing. You know what I mean? The time I'm on the field, I want to be productive enough to say that we won that battle. And so if you do that as a starters, then you keep trickling down to the guys who come in after the starters, then you trickle down to the guys who are going to probably play the majority of the game. If everybody wins their outing, we have a chance to win the preseason game. You don't necessarily have to win the preseason game, but if you can add all that together, you have good film to go in there and watch and be prepared for the next week.
And you brought up a great point. Like in a way, preseason is just like a glorified practice. So you just want your position group to do really well. So like as a tight end, I was like, are all the tight ends doing well? Great, because then we have some stuff we can build on moving forward. Not so much as the whole offense necessarily, but you're really concerned about your microcosm. I think that's a great point.
It's like the word that they put on the shirts last year, Ubuntu. I don't know if I'm saying that
What?
right. Coach had this because it says this, I am because we are.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
So
I
if
remember
your
like that.
room's doing well, then you are performing to your capabilities because everybody else is
Bingo.
as well. And it is a team mentality, although a lot of guys here have to be able to put film on tape, if not for this team, for maybe somebody else. It could be very well an audition just to be able to have a job and keep a job in the NFL. Hey, that's going to do it for this Command Center. Again, we didn't have fans on here today because they're actually getting prepared and game planning for the Carolina Panthers, however much they actually will for the preseason want to reveal their hand. But next week, Monday through Thursday, fans can come on out here to Ashburn and watch practice because tomorrow we're at Joint Base Andrews doing a walkthrough. And then, of course, we hope to see you Saturday against the Carolina Panthers, 1 o'clock. Thanks for joining us on this Camp Coverage Command Center. We will see you again tomorrow, another show, but that'll be again from Joint Base Andrews. See you, everybody.